Once we broadcast an interview with clinical psychologist Sam O'Sullivan, who's on a path to explore and support men's mental and health well-being through a campaign called Tough Talk. Sam is currently sacrificing his professional career of clinical psychology to travel New Zealand to understand more about mental health and well-being among men and what barriers might be stopping men opening up. On his website, toughtalk.nz, there are some inspiring interviews by Sam of men he's met as he travels around. Sam's way of meeting such men is pretty random. However, the result is stimulating and thought-provoking interviews which uncover the mysteries of men's emotional communication and demonstrate that men can open up about their feelings. Here's the first with hunter, father and partner Adam Sharplin from Sam's YouTube footage, which you can access on toughtalk.nz.
Kia ora, Adam.
Kia ora, bro.
Let's jump in.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
I was born here in Papamoa, in the Bay of Plenty. I have an older brother. My dad left when I was 3. Growing up was interesting with one mum because I always felt, never knew why, but, not having my dad around was very challenging. I always found that quite challenging. The Māori side of me, we whakapapa to Tuahiwi, which is just north of Christchurch. Those are all new discoveries for me, though. The family are just jumping into that side of things. It's quite exciting, learning that about us.
I know you work in this space now, like helping men out and doing things with families. Do you think that was influenced by...
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I link it to because I think that grief and loss is a huge factor with men. Men feel it. Grief and loss, and it comes in all sorts of forms. For me, it was the loss of my father and yearning for a father, wanting a dad, and that was my experience of grief and loss. And that kind of and then in my teen years, my mum was unwell with mental illness and my brother was at boarding school, so it was just me and mum. So that led to all sorts of struggles at schools and my later teens having a little bit of gang influence and sort of hanging out with some bad crowds and things like that. So the loss of my dad, but also in my teen years feeling like I'd lost my mum. Because even though she was here, she was unwell, and it was a bit frightening as a teenager having no real stable base. I can link that to how that affected me and then other men if they've experienced similar or whatever they may have experienced. I suppose relates. I don't like the word I don't like saying I know how they feel because everyone feels differently, but I can relate how I may have been feeling similar to how they may have been feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Gives you that empathy.
Yeah, empathy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what do you do to change? Like what skills did you develop? Like what do you do in your life to stay calm, to feel good, to stay focused?
I kind of have my family's my focus. I think as a man, I think all men need to feel like they're relevant and they're and they're sort of, what's the word? Important, I suppose, valuable in a community setting. So at home, like I really work on the relationships with my partner and my kids, and those are the first most important things to me. So lots of time with my kids and, doing things, and I take my son hunting a lot and a little girl playing lots of, I was teaching her ballet last week. Things for me, or what I call me time, I do a lot of hunting. I hunt every week. I love dogs, so hunting with dogs is a bit of a me thing. I get to see my dogs work and the training process and all that sort of thing. And also that for me fills a bit of a gap for, I feel like I'm providing. If I catch an animal, I bring it home and I'm providing for my family, and yeah, and physical like training and boxing and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and things. Those are my me time things.
How do you think that helps? Like if you're feeling stressed, or how do you think going out and hunting or boxing or whatever you're doing, how do you think that works for you?
Well, I think men we have this built-up stores of adrenaline and testosterone, and they're just in there. And there's lots of, I see it, lots of men, they wake up, that, you know, they'll go out, they'll work in an office, or they'll do something that's really not physically taxing on them, and they don't use any of those stores. They're not physically challenged in any way, so they've got these stores and they stay there. They don't go anywhere. They're just there, and they're pent up. So that's where a lot of men come home and they're frustrated. For me, when I go hunting and I catch an animal, I've had times when I don't think I'm going to get out. I'll have an animal on my back and I'm walking up some steep, shitty cliff and I can't get out.
Wow.
I think, I'm going to have to leave it here or something. But you make it out.
Yep.
All my energy's gone. I'm exhausted. And I get home and I cut it up, then that's where I've spent my adrenaline. I've spent all my testosterone. I left it in the bush. The same with training. I go to training and I'll have a good blowout on the bag, or wrestling, and see my boys. I've got my friends. That's my village, you know, and we train together, and I feel good, feel validated, feel important to my mates.
A lot of men don't talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, we hold it all in and we sit quiet, and we don't really actually share the things we do for our own well-being.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit, in your work with men and
totally
your insights into it.
Absolutely. I think men have developed, over generations of whatever may have happened in previous generations, they've developed this mentality that men need to be hard and suppress feelings, and, you know, if you're upset, then you're up, mate. Get over it, you know. Have a beer.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh, go smash them then. You know, that sort of attitude. But we're sensitive creatures. Men have all these feelings that are right on the edge of our sleeve that we're being forced to shove right back up there and not acknowledge, you know.
Hold down here.
Totally. We all know that there's remedies for anxiety, there's remedies for depression through, I suppose, mindfulness and doing things that men need to do for men. There's those things that can calm us and keep us calm and keep us balanced in our communities and our families.
What do we do now? I mean, this has happened. We want to go forward.
Yep.
What can we do in our lives and as a group to change this and change the effect it's having on our children and the next generation?
What a question. As men? For men? Or as people?
As men and as people.
As men and as people. I think men need to take full responsibility for their own feelings, completely. If you're feeling sad, no, you're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel happy. You're allowed to feel upset, disappointed. All those things are so normal.
Part of that's, I think, really actually feeling it, really feeling it in your body.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rather than blocking it out. I think that's so important, and that's part of the mindfulness, to notice it physically in your body and be aware of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And if it's happening in group settings, express it. Say, I'm feeling really angry. You know? I think a lot of men, a lot of people, but I'll speak about men, they can use those feelings as manipulation. They'll use them to manipulate. Like, and I think that's a no-no. Like, if I'm feeling angry, say for, I don't know, my partner, if I'm feeling angry, I'll be like, you made me angry, you made me pissed off, so you need to do this. So a lot of men will be like, well, I'm expressing I'm angry, but you're saying that it's their responsibility that I'm angry. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a no-no. It's their responsibility that I'm sad.
We need to own it.
Yep, I'm feeling angry. What I need right now is to go and go train, or I need to talk about this, or I need a bit of rest, or come back to this tomorrow or something, you know. It's these things. This is what men need to do. They need to take full responsibility for their feelings. It's no one else's problem. I think we need to do stuff for ourselves. Like for me, training and hunting, that's for myself, but because that's for myself, it contributes to my family positively. And my partner's totally supportive of it. So it's a group effort. She knows that I need to go hunting for me, and she also knows it saves us a bit of money on meat.
Yep.
So that, you know, or sports, whatever it might be. If you have a sports club you need to pay a bit of fees to, then partners need, it's up to them, but I feel like there needs to be some support around that, because that helps men cope. They have friends, they're in communities, they have their feelings being validated by their mates, they're being allowed to get all this pent up, whatever it might be, adrenaline and testosterone, get it out there.
We're playing today some men's stories which have been recorded on YouTube by clinical psychologist Sam O'Sullivan, who we interviewed in a broadcast late last year in December. And you can access these interviews that we are playing on Mental Health Radio, Take It From Us, on YouTube, on toughtalk.nz, or also Sam's Facebook page, which is facebook.com/toughtalknz /. We're going to hear a second interview with Sam O'Sullivan, and one of the men, his name is Devin Briggs.
Kia ora, Devin. So Devin, I thought we could just start off by hearing a little bit about your story.
I guess so. My earliest memories are kind of around 8 years old, where I actually started to build a little bit of a character around myself. Sneaking my skateboard into primary school, olling the cool little 5 stairs it had around while the teachers weren't around, that sort of thing. I kind of lived and breathed skateboarding as much as I possibly could, every waking minute of every day that I had available to myself. It was, what curb could I wax up and grind, or what kind of driveway could I build a little ramp in and stuff like that. My mum was a single mum for most of my life, up until about 10 years old actually, when my stepdad came in, but moved into my nana's house. Nana had a neighbour who was kind of the super duper cool kid who was 4 years older than me, and he was kind of everything I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I was always going over to his house, knocking on his door, Mark, you in there? Come on out, bro. And he'd start playing guitar or learning guitar. I'd go over and be oh, electric guitar, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Give me a go. So I started learning guitar, and my stepdad came into my life. There's not many people in the world that I'm scared of or intimidated by, but he's number one, and he made me feel this big all the time. He moved in, and I didn't feel like myself anymore. I started to question what I was doing, because he'd be it'd make me feel like I'm not good at anything. It made me feel like everything I do wasn't the right thing to do. He made me feel like I was walking on eggshells all the time. I had restless sleeps for 10 years. It was, my heart's fucking palpitating right now, and I get a little bit, my voice trembles, and just even thinking about it, it makes me nervous. The fact that he's still on this planet freaks me out. It's a suck feeling, because I feel like I'm a real confident guy, and I like to feel like I'm someone other people can rely on if they're feeling unsafe or unwell or anxious or anything. I want to be there for people. The number one thing I wish I could do in my life is help people. That's where I get the most satisfaction. And he stole all that from me, and I'm forever angry at him, and I wish I could get rid of that. I want to be the Devin I used to be, confident and empowered and motivated, which I am still. But I still feel like there's this underlying thing of, am I doing that right? Or, it's just there's always just a little level of uncertainty with lots of things that I do, which I struggle with. I guess, over the last couple of years, I have been made aware how anxious I am. I'm embracing it. I get fucking anxious sometimes. And sometimes I want to go hide away and not talk to anyone. But then realizing that, these people may, my friends or my family or anyone I know, may have expectations of the Devin that they know. I'm trying to hide this anxious person because I don't want to be that person. I don't want people to know that I'm anxious.
It's kind of confident skater kid, part of you that was growing, and then kind of when comes this kind of shadow
that's a good way to put it.
That kind of is coming up for you, and it's really affecting you as an adult.
It's totally affecting me, and I guess I wasn't really made aware of how much it was affecting me until I embraced it. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, I mean, a couple of years ago, I went to the doctors, like, I just can't be happy. Like, I'd come home and just burst into tears for no reason in front of people I don't want to cry in front of. And it was just such like a deflating thing that was happening in my life. I went down to the doctors and, yeah, the lady said I have chronic depression. And just like hearing that and thinking about the person that I am was just like oh my God, like, I'm fucking overwhelmed. This is crazy. That's unbelievably irresponsible of you to tell me that and give me no references to go and, check. And it was just like, this is fucked. I'm losing my mind right now. That was the last thing I needed to hear. So that didn't help. That was actually when I came and talked to you. Yeah. And you led me into mindfulness. And like, dude, how that changed my life. You have no idea. I started going to gymnastics. I stopped doing a bunch of like negative things I was doing in my life. It's like a repeating process. I pursued these paths that I would have never pursued. I went on this like 30k Marlborough Sounds hike with a bunch of my mates who own all of this land up there, and it was a life-changing experience. And just like the butterfly effect from sending you a text and be like, hey bro, I'm going through a bunch of rubbish stuff right now. Wouldn't mind someone being able to provide a little bit of clarity behind that for me, because my head's screwed up and I don't know what's going on. That was fundamental to my mental healing, and that's led on to a bunch of things now, and I'm in a really good place now. Like, I'm still struggling with anxiety and stuff like that, but I can somewhat not live with it, but be aware of it and acknowledge it and be okay with it. I have this kind of like idea of what I did, of what meditation is, and people say, I can't shut my brain off. And that's what I thought it was. I can't shut my brain off. Like, when I shut my eyes, I feel like rubber bands when I just hang open all the time. I don't have that level of mental focus in me. Just being able to do like diaphragmatic breathing and, do all that mindfulness in such a short period of time as well, and notice an instant change and just feel like, wow, I've actually just learned a tool that I can use in my life for these tiny little instances or circumstances or moments in my life which are out of my control. And that was an awesome thing to learn. And thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
That was crazy cool.
How do you find, because I know I was talking to you recently, you said you don't sit and practice a lot, but you're still sort of fitting it into your life. How are you practicing these days?
Yeah, I mean, when I have a little crazy moment and I'm by myself, I go in circles in my head, I will sit down and breathe and straight back and through the nose, out the mouth, focus on all the things he said. It helps. But also say, I wake up in the morning and, I've had 6 hours worth of sleep and a 12-hour day yesterday and the day before and the day before, and just that constant grind at work and never meeting the requirements. I will do mindfulness on the way to work, and it just focusing on diaphragmatic breathing and just focusing on the, barrel vision of the road, tunnel vision of the road, and it actually does kind of, like, I can feel it overcome my body and just like it relaxes me a bunch. And then halfway on that 10-minute drive to work, driving the coast down Island Bay, which is lovely, seeing the waves crashing in and everything, halfway to work, just have that like change of mindset, just like, that's all good. I kind of realize you can do mindfulness anywhere. On the way to town in the market, if I'm having a rubbish time in my head, I just watch diaphragmatic breathing. I do it a lot in the car.
I remember talking to you too, because I think we can apply it to lots of things just as we're doing things. I remember talking to you about like the calm focus, and then you brought up that story of bandsoring. I thought that was a really cool illustration of mindfulness as you're getting stuff done. Yeah. So bandsoring, that was a funny one actually. So
I was at uni and I was in this workshop. I had this like nice piece of Remu. I was like, sweet, I need to cut this in half and I can carry on with my project that I'm working on. Ruler, I need a ruler because I need a perfect straight line. Like looking around for a ruler, you know, time deadlines and stuff like that. Stuff it. I'm just going to throw it through the bandsaw, cut a straight line, then carry on. It'll be mint. I'm not going to waste any time looking for a ruler. Bandsawing kicks in. Rubbish. It was, you know, a rubbish moment because I went straight up to the bandsaw, like this, cut this yuck ugly curvy line through this beautiful piece of Remu that I'd taken a couple of days to source and ruined the material I had, and then had to go and source another piece of material, which did take a couple of days. So if I just was like, it's all good, realise that the deadline's not the most important thing, go and find a ruler, measure your stuff out, cut a nice straight line, a nice systematic process, as I normally do, throw it in the bandsaw, perfect straight line, may have taken a couple of minutes extra. Now I've got the wood I need in the right shape. But I did it. And it's not about the big wins in life, you know, it's about the little wins. It's about the little things that give you the main satisfaction. Like that car outside I've had for 12 years and I'm still waiting to do a massive burnout and pop the tyres, you know. It's taken me ages. It's almost like a really hard thing to be able to finish. It's a really hard thing to be able to finish because it's a massive, massive project. Sometimes I just need to step back and slow down and realise that, you know, I don't need a bandsaw all the time.
On your journey, did you find, have you ever had, you know, you reached out to me at one point, but, you know, within New Zealand culture, you always talk about the dark stuff. Did you ever find that has influenced your journey?
In this day and age, lots of people do villainise people instantly.
True.
And that's what I struggle a lot with, because no one's perfect.
You're with Take It From Us on 104.6